I grew up in the city of Chicago. We did not talk about sex. Certainly in my in my mom's in my parents' life, they had 6 children, and I suspect that neither of them now knew how to avoid having children. I didn't ever have anybody to explain to me what sex really was. We did not have sex education in our school. I didn't have sex education at home. I learned the way many of us of my generation learned, by simply sharing secrets with my friends and similarly aged family.
I grew up in Brooklyn, and it was a working class neighborhood in Brooklyn, and I attended public school there. Sex was never spoken of in my education. Sex was about not getting pregnant as best as you could.
I left the Philippines when I was 6 and grew up in Africa. I remember having sex education in one of my classes. I think it was in 6th grade, and it was strictly about pregnancy and very formal. We never really talk about sex either with the parents. I learned through it through classmates. I think in those days it was like, unless you're married, it was a sin. As the 60s, 70s came, it was like having fun, love, peace, power, and partying, and it's like completely revolutionized my thoughts about it.
So I was born in the Philippines. It's a Catholic country, and abortion is not an option, neither is divorce. And then we migrated to California, Southern California, really close to the Mexican border, and was also public school educated, throughout my life. And I do remember a health class, and I don't remember I think it was middle school, but I don't remember much from it, kind of just the basics of biology. My cousin too, around that time, had a child really young. And I remember, like, my mom, the only conversation my mom ever had about sex was like, just don't be like your cousin, like, you don't want to have a child that young. So that kind of instilled the fear in me of, like, focus on my education and go to college. I think kind of my generation growing up, people were able to talk about things a little bit more freely. And then I see that even more so now, and that young women and girls are a lot more independent.
I got married at a very, very young age and had a child almost exactly a year after I got married. And the guy that I married was Catholic. And so, of course, contraception was not permitted. And so almost a year after we got married, my first child was born. And then 14 months later, my second child was born. And somehow or another, I got the idea that this can go on for a long time, given how young I was. I kind of focused on my life, the life that I wanted, and I certainly did not want 12 children.
My family is an interesting history in terms of contraception, because my grandmother had so many abortions on a kitchen table. To my mother, who basically I think was pretty sophisticated, I think they had some form of contraception, but never talked about it. To me, who then, I knew in college, I went to Planned Parenthood, and the available contraception at that time was a diaphragm. To my first daughter, who came to me and said, I have a friend who needs contraception, where should she go? I mean, my very life is the evolution of contraception in this country in so many ways.
At that time, I was 1967, 68. That was a sexual revolution, and I was grateful for being able to go to Planned Parenthood and not be afraid of getting pregnant, getting the contraception started with a diaphragm, and then the pill. I got married at sophomore year, and my husband and I delayed childbearing. So I focused on my career.
It's been amazing to see all the different options that people have had over the years, and it was before it was just the pill. And then now, there's so many different things that people can take.
Healthcare for women in the 40s and 50s, certainly, and probably even into the 60s, and compare that to what we have today, it's like we're in a different world. All of my doctors, my children's pediatricians, my daughters, gynecologists, and all the rest of that in my lifetime were all male. I didn't know that female doctors existed. I think that a female doctor would have understood the dilemma of living a normal, healthy lifestyle versus having to choose the possibility of losing your children that you had already.
We couldn't have children, so ended up going to fertility doctors, and it took the injections and hormone pills and all that, and but we waited. After trying for 5 years, we decided to stop because all those pills and injection had a lot of side effects in the long run. We decided to try and just stay healthy and just focus on our career, and we were never able to have children.
I'm also more naturally minded, and so my daughter was born home birth. So now I'm seeing the evolution even further in terms of moving away from traditional kind of Western medicine and people being more open to traditional, kind of going back in that circle of what was kind of previous generations and trying to find the best of both worlds.
Access to contraception, I think it just simply didn't exist. Planned Parenthood was probably always around, but I'm not sure that we had the ability to disseminate the information so that people like me, for example, would have known that it was okay to go there. Most of my friends ended up at some point or another having an abortion, even though it was illegal. But the consequence of not having the abortion and going ahead and having another one or more children was totally unacceptable, both from a societal point of view, from an economic point of view. You were just a marked woman.
I worked for the Department of Health. I directed something called the Women's Health Line, where we actually arranged for women to be able to call and find out where they could get where they could get a pregnancy test, where they could get a contraceptive anywhere in the city, and where they could get abortions, by calling this helpline. I supervised the counselors at Planned Parenthood. I trained physicians to come and get trained in abortion. My trajectory has really been, from understanding the importance of the issue to really getting directly involved in making a change.
Having access to contraception did have an effect on my life. The freedom of having the choice to be able to delay childbearing enabled me to concentrate on my career Yeah, the previous generation, my grandparents and my mother really didn't have the freedom of choice. I'm just happy to have grown up in the time that I grew up in, to see lots of changes. It helped a lot that we weren't pressured into getting pregnant and having to quit education or quit your job. That was one of the highlights of having everything available to my generation.
I believe it's just overall healthcare for women needs to grow and evolve and transform. We keep landing on it, especially as mothers, that it goes back to insurance. And, we have to make these decisions for our children because of insurance. As women's choices have expanded and evolved, the systems have that to support us haven't, right? That village that our children need to be raised in aren't there. The structures to support women working and having children, or just balancing work as a professional, is not there either. I do see some pockets of hope in that people are creating those spaces in small ways. So that's hopeful. But I think the systems and structures that support women need to definitely evolve and expand with the times.
Thank you for watching this story from our online docuseries Stand Up Speak Out, the personal politics of women's rights. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified when a new video is up. Share with your friends. Leave us a comment with your reaction to the story. All this helps us to reach more people. Visit our website, bcvoices.org, to learn more and support our work on our next episode.